clarity on the responsibilities of students, parents, teachers, and other stakeholders. We have also addressed significantly the teachers' shortage problem. We had in 2022 a teacher shortage of 116,000. In the last 3 years, we've hired 100,000 teachers. We're hiring another 20,000 this year to make sure that consistently we close the gap on teacher shortage in our learning institutions. I was happy to note that the school chief principal here said 3 years ago there were 53 teachers in Maseno. Today, they have 93. Meaning there are an additional 40 teachers hired in the last 3 years. Of the 100,000 teachers that we've hired, 40 have come to Maseno. He has, however, informed me that there is still another 40 teachers that are still hired under the Board of Management structure. Let me say that because we are hiring more teachers this year, immediately we will absorb 25 of the 40 teachers. And then we will absorb the balance later in the year. So please present the list of 25 teachers to the CS for Education, and we will facilitate their employment immediately. We have also worked with our TVETs and universities. We had a serious crisis of the funding model that we had in that space. And today, we have changed the funding model so that it doesn't focus on the institution, it focuses on the student, so that we can tailor-make funding for every student depending on their ability or the ability of their parents and guardians to support them, and to ensure that no child is left behind. And that has made us increase the budget for education from 500 billion shillings in 2022 to 702 billion this year. And in the proposed budget, we have 767 billion for the year 2026-2027. And it is because I have said we do not treat money spent educating our children as an expenditure. We treat it as an investment. And I will continue to spearhead the process of making sure that every learner has space to learn, resources for the learning, teachers, and all the other facilities that are necessary. The figures I've just mentioned are not merely figures in the budget. They represent classrooms built, teachers employed, laboratories equipped, opportunities expanded, and dreams made possible for millions of young Kenyans. At the same time, we are undertaking a major expansion of educational infrastructure. As I have said here, We have built 23,000 new classrooms. We are in the process of building another 1,600 laboratories across Kenya. Yesterday, I was in a place called Doldol, in a school in Doldol, supporting the infrastructure development there. Early this year, I was in my alma mater, Kapsabet Boys, again, to build momentum for more and more students to get access to education. Last Saturday, a day like this, I was in Njiri School in Murang'a, again to push for more learning spaces and greater opportunity extended to our children, especially in institutions like Maseno, where you have culture, you have history, and you have a record of excellence. We must make it possible for more students to access this great facility. And that is why I support my good advisor, Joe Aguirre, and the team here, including George Weda there, in thinking outside the box and looking at a new Maseno that will serve our nation for the next 100 years. And I like that they've been bold in their thinking and in their vision. And I want to assure you, Joe and George, that you have my support. In this context, I have been informed that while Maseno's academic standing has continued to rise, some of its support infrastructure has not expanded at the same pace. This is a matter that deserves attention because institutions of this stature must be supported to match their historic mission and future responsibilities. We shall therefore work closely with the school administration, alumni, and stakeholders of Maseno School to upgrade its physical infrastructure so that it fully reflects the stature, heritage, and standing as one of Kenya's premier institutions of learning. I know why you invited me for this occasion. Naelewa kabisa. If you wanted somebody to talk, you would have looked for somebody else. But if you wanted things to get done, that's why you looked for me. I have participated in the lifting of many institutions of learning, building classrooms, laboratories, and many other physical infrastructure in different schools. And I don't regret for a moment any opportunity that I have gotten to be able to add learning space for one child or whatever number, or to make sure that there is a teacher in a classroom. It is always a very, very proud moment. And so, because we must embrace the future, and we must continue drawing inspiration from institutions like Maseno, the question before us is no longer whether Maseno has a glorious past. History has already answered that question for us. The real question is whether institutions with such a powerful heritage, resilience, and intellectual tradition can help lead Kenya and Africa into the future. And I believe they can, they should, they will, and they must. I therefore urge the Maseno School community not to merely preserve its proud legacy, but to boldly shape the next frontier of Kenyan and African leadership, innovation, science, ethics, and public service. The future of our continent will depend on institutions capable not only of transmitting knowledge, but also of producing courageous thinkers, transformative leaders, and visionary citizens equipped to navigate and define the world of tomorrow. And Maseno is such an institution. Therefore, having read carefully what the vision of Maseno is going into the future, and understanding very well why you invited me here, and I don't assume that you invited me merely because I'm president. You invited me because you know I'm a friend and I am practical. So this is what we are going to do. Joe Aguirre and your team, you must lead from the front. I'm very proud. Na tuwapigie makofi, they have already raised 80 million. Did I read it correctly, Joe? Yes, 80 million. Wapigie makofi. That 80 million you can spend in doing the various workshops and science, a laboratory, some laboratories there, and also an ICT place for these young guys. When you do the ICT space, the government of Kenya will supply the computers necessary for that space. William Ruto and friends, I will mobilize my own friends because I understand very well that this is going to be a collaborative effort. It is not government alone, it's not parents, it's not alumni, or friends like me. We all have to pull together. Therefore, myself and friends, we are going to build 40 classrooms to accommodate at least 1,600 students. And my suggestion, Mwalimu, is that half of those classrooms, which will be ready before the end of this year, in the next few months, half of those classrooms will be used by these gentlemen, and then the other half, you admit an extra 800 students next year. My request and my intention, and I have done this in many of the senior schools that we have in Kenya, from Nairobi School to Alliance, to Njiri's and all the others, including Kapsabet, is that an institution with great heritage and history and culture of excellence like Maseno should open its doors to more students. There is absolutely no reason why we should not support Maseno with infrastructure so that we can have at least 5,000 students in this school. To benefit from the culture and the great tradition that has been built over the years. We will have less and less people like Opio and I who could not manage to come to Maseno, and all the other good people. Then our Ministry of Housing is going to build